Welcome back. Okay, so there were a couple of questionable picks that last segment, but I have just the guys to smooth it all out. Joining me is Billy O'Riordan and Adam Constantine to break down the East and the West regions. Guys, let's take a look at what we already know. And starting in the East, you both have Kentucky moving on, as well as Texas, Marquette, New Mexico, Clemson, and West Virginia.
Sure.
But there are two spots that still need to be filled. Let's take a look at Temple Cornell and then Wisconsin Wofford. We'll start with Temple Cornell.
I have Cornell.
Okay.
Because they have been very strong. This is the second year in a row that they have won the Ivy League. They are starting 5 seniors. That's experience. You know, they were in the NCAA tournament last year. I think that it's time for them to get that win this year.
I think experience can only take you so far. Temple won the best mid-major conference this year. The A-10 got 3 picks, and Temple dominated the whole year. They beat Villanova earlier this year by 10 points. They have one of the best defenses in the league, top 4 in scoring defense. Cornell needs to get hot to win this game, and Temple's not going to let them do it.
See, that's the thing. I think that Temple has all the pressure on the world. Cornell doesn't have this pressure. With 5 seniors, I think that they're going to have what it takes to beat them.
I disagree. I think Temple doesn't have a lot of pressure because they got underseeded to begin with. So they're already exactly. They're already ticked off. Plus, they won the A-10 and the A-10 tournament, beat Villanova early in the season.
Which means
Cornell
that they have all this pressure on them. I mean, the fact that they've won all these things, you're expected to keep on moving on. Cornell is not expected to do anything. Cornell is like, oh, well, it would be nice to get an upset. That's what people are saying. Cornell, if they come out hot, they will beat Temple.
Good point. All right, let's move on to the Wisconsin-Wofford game. Billy, we'll start with you.
I'm going with Wofford. This is one of those gut feelings, going with the heart. It's March Madness for a reason. You got to have a Cinderella. Wofford's going to be that Cinderella. Look at 2006 when Northwestern State beat Iowa. That was a mid-major conference champion beating a Big Ten team. We could see the same thing here. They may not match up statistically with Wisconsin, but they're on a 13-game winning streak. They got heart.
Let me tell you about this Cinderella. Their glass slipper are big men. Let me tell you, they don't handle big men very well. I'll tell you personally, I dropped 20 points on them twice.
Woo.
Twice. So, with that being said, Wisconsin is a seasoned NCAA team. Wofford, this is their first bid. I'm not going to say they're just going to be playing to be happy to be there, but this is unknown territory for them. You know, Wisconsin, yes, they're going to have pressure, yes, but this is too much of a size game in order for it to matter.
Fair enough. Now, that would mean that you would have Temple-Wofford second round. You would have the opposite. You would have Wisconsin-Cornell second round. Give me your winners of those games. Who would make the Sweet 16?
It's got to be Temple.
Okay.
I take Temple over any of these teams. They should have been a 3 seed at least. You know what Temple needs to be worried about? They need to start looking forward against Kentucky when they're going to come up against them in the Sweet 16.
People sleep on Wisconsin. I think maybe it's their style of play, maybe the fact that they don't get on TV a lot to see their true value. I think that this is a team that if you aren't extremely hot on this team, this is a solid team that is very consistent and can push pretty far. I think that they're going to take Cornell.
Okay, fair enough. One region to go, so let's get after it. In the West, you have both Syracuse. You both have Syracuse, Gonzaga, Vanderbilt, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, BYU, and Kansas State moving on. But again, we disagree on Butler versus UTEP and Minnesota versus Pittsburgh. That's the second round game. Butler versus UTEP. Why?
I think that it's time for Butler to get the monkey off his back. Butler always plays very well during the regular season. They somehow seem to choke the NCAA. It's time. Every team has their time where it's time to make their run. Do I think that they're going to make it very far? No. But I do think that they've had enough first-round games, enough first-round experience for them to get past that.
Do you think if they win their first-round game that they'll make the Sweet 16 and supposedly beat Vanderbilt?
I don't think that they're that strong. I think that they have one win in them, and that's about it.
Now, see, I'm going completely the other way. My real Cinderella, since Wofford would be nice, but UTEP, they have the talent. They shoot a higher percentage than Butler does. They get more rebounds a game, more assists, more steals, more blocks. They're in a better conference. They're a team that can win this, and they have a point guard who's real special. Randy Culpepper, Conference USA Player of the Year, 18 points per game, and in these first 2 rounds, guard play can really make or break a team. It's going to make UTEP. They're going all the way to the Sweet 16.
I agree. I think UTEP winning, and sorry for interrupting, winning the Conference USA in the regular season, transfer from Louisville, Derek Character, big guy. Guy can dominate a game without even trying. I think UTEP could be Sweet 16.
All I'm saying is, as we all know, regular season means nothing. Anything can happen. I really think that Butler can take them.
Okay, fair enough. Next game, Minnesota-Pittsburgh second-round game because you both agree that Minnesota is going to upset Xavier. I disagree with that personally, but let's look at the second-round game. Minnesota, the 11 seed, taking on Pitt, the 3 seed. Billy?
I got to go with Pittsburgh, especially after watching Minnesota just fall apart against Ohio State in that Big Ten championship game.
Well, in the second half. They were there.
That's true. Yeah. But, I mean, come on. That was just an absolute blowout in the second half. I think Pitt's a little bit of a better team. Minnesota finished middle of the road in the Big Ten, which is not a good place to be this year. If you're not Michigan State, Purdue, or Ohio State, you really don't have a reason to be in this tournament anyway. Pitt playing in the Big East. The Big East, just playing in the Big East is a tournament in itself. I think you got to give it to Pitt.
The NCAA tournament is all about who is hot, and Minnesota is hot right now. Everyone wants to talk about that second half of the championship game, but they made it to the championship games. And for their middle of the road, they're not supposed to make it that far. They made it that far, which means they are a dangerous team. Pittsburgh is a young, inexperienced team. I don't think that they'll be able to handle the pressure that comes with a big game that is the potential Sweet 16. Everybody knows that being in the Sweet 16 is a very important thing. I don't know if they'll be able to
Pitt's
handle
been
that.
here before, though. They've been in the tournament for, like, what, a bajillion consecutive years? This is Minnesota's first time since 2005.
And Minnesota's hot right now.
Both good points. We'll see if that matchup comes to fruition. Well, we have to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll be talking to Eric Kendall and Rich Ryan to finish what we started and find out who's going to be in the Sweet 16 and who will win the NCAA championship. Stay with us. We'll be right back.